Our next presentation will be done by Stacie Levine, MD, and Joshua Russel, MD. Dr. Stacie Levine is the Chief of Geriatrics and Palliative Medicine here at the university and a national leader in geriatrics and palliative medicine education. Stacie is currently co-PI of a multi-centered project, the Coleman Palliative Medicine Training Program, that has been funded consecutively for nearly 10 years by the Coleman Foundation. This project involves primary palliative care education for physicians, advanced practice practitioners, nurses, psychologists, social workers, and chaplains who care for patients with serious illnesses. Dr. Levine's impactful work has been recognized here by the University of Chicago through the Francis Strauss Mentorship Award in 2020 and by the American Academy of Hospice and Palliative Care Medicine, Gerald Holman Distinguished Service Award in 2021. Stacie also was selected to the Executive Leadership in Academic Medicine, ELAM, a program for women, in 2017. Stacie Levine's work has been disseminated widely in top journals such as the Journal of Pain and Symptom Management, through book chapters and national presentations. Dr. Joshua Russel is a board-certified emergency physician. He completed his residency at Oregon Health and Science University in 2013. He practiced community emergency medicine at various institutions in the Pacific Northwest before returning to train here for hospice and palliative medicine at the University of Chicago in 2020. Dr. Russel currently is an attending at North Shore University Hospital System in both palliative care and emergency medicine. Dr. Levine and Dr. Russel will present a presentation entitled, "Who is Your Person? A Video Aid to Educate Patients on Healthcare Power of Attorney." It's a pleasure to introduce Drs. Levine and Russel. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Siegler, for the warm introduction. I wanted to share my screen here and present the slides, but I do want to spend the bulk of the time that we're allotted and very grateful for actually showing the video that we created. As Dr. Siegler mentioned, the title of this project was "Who's Your Person?" and it was a focus on creating a video to help patients with selecting their healthcare power of attorneys. A bit of background about surrogate decision-making and healthcare power of attorneys in general fall under the umbrella of what's called advanced care planning. And that's really just looking forward to what are the expected issues that are going to arise with serious illness and advanced age. And that's been very well studied to be something that does improve outcomes at the end of life. Unfortunately, it happens with unfortunate infrequency. And this is true nationwide and also very true at the University of Chicago. So among admitted patients, a large proportion of them, 25 to 40%, will require someone to make decisions for them while they are hospitalized because they're incapacitated for one reason or another. And unfortunately, only about a third of adults ever in their life complete advanced directives. And you can see these figures, which Dr. Levine assisted me in pulling for the first part of this year, that all admitted patients at the University of Chicago, only 7.1% of them had a healthcare power of attorney listed in the medical record. So this is a massive opportunity for improving outcomes for our most seriously ill patients. This is also not a new idea to try to get patients involved and engaged earlier in advanced care planning. Unfortunately, it's something that I think for many reasons that I'm not going to go into has been historically challenging. But one of the main ones is that advanced care planning encompasses a tremendous amount of considerations, and it's often psychologically things that people don't want to think about, which are, themselves in a compromised position or dead. For that reason, people tend to avoid these conversations. So previous work on advanced care planning has tried to work towards getting patients to decide things about code status, use of mechanical ventilation, use of artificial nutrition, these large topics. And frankly, those are much more nuanced decisions than who your healthcare power of attorney should be. And because if patients are in these compromised positions, we wanted to focus on what's the highest yield thing that we can assist patients in planning for, and that's who's going to make decisions for when you are not able to make them for yourself. We surveyed at the beginning of this project what was out there in terms of decision aids, especially in the video sphere, and most of the videos that existed were unfortunately quite homogenous in terms of the composition of the actors, predominantly Caucasian, both patients and clinicians. So as this was being funded through Bucksbaum and primarily to initially serve our patient population, the University of Chicago, we aimed to bridge that gap in ethnic and cultural, or the gap in diversity, and make a more inclusive video. I share this timeline just to kind of illustrate before I show the video that this type of project takes more time, took certainly more time than I anticipated. And I appreciate especially Doctors Levine and Malik from palliative care helping to really push this across the finish line. So we started planning this in May of 2020. I also mentioned the timeline because this all transpired during really the heart of lockdown. But we were given the grant last summer. I can't say enough about Carter Davis and hiring a videographer who is also an emergency room nurse, and his expertise both clinically and technically was tremendous. We started with a needs assessment survey, both from patient perspective and provider perspective, and that was really just to help articulate what the gaps were that were perceived on both sides of the patient and physician relationship. We put together a script which underwent significant revisions. Recruiting actors was certainly a challenge because some of the actors, as you'll see, are older and were understandably afraid to leave their home or be without a mask during the pandemic. This video was completed early this year, and we screened it with several focus groups. One is a really tremendous effort that's being done just focusing on ACP within the institution, which is the ACP incubator, also the research working group within the Department of Medicine, and the oncology patient forum. And we got a lot of feedback. We incorporated that, and that's where we came up with our final video, which you'll see now, and it's been approved and is currently residing permanently, we hope, on the University of Chicago's ACP planning page as a resource for patients. And that is not within the intranet, that is accessible from any computer off campus as well. So we're hoping that that can be used by other institutions. We announced this and released this on National Healthcare Decisions Day, which was in April. And then we got some feedback from patients about their initial impressions about choosing a healthcare power of attorney, and then their impressions about the importance of it and their motivation to do it. And the thing that stood out most in those surveys, I'm not going to belabor the responses because I want to give time for the video, but was most dramatic an effect on patients' motivation to actually proactively do this. And because it is something that is so commonly put off, we really hope that the video can be used to motivate people to take the time today and just make a simple decision known to the healthcare community that's taking care of them as who they want to make decisions for them. And then also make sure, equally as importantly, that their surrogate, their healthcare power of attorney, knows what is important for them and what care they would want and not want. So without any further ado, hopefully on your end, the video can get played. Thank you.
Hey, Dad, I'm back from the store. Got everything on the list. Well, except they were sold out of Rocky Road.
You didn't get my ice cream?
No, I'm just messing with you. It's in there.
You're funny, huh?
Hey, Dad, I noticed the house next door is for sale. What happened to Mr. and Mrs. Anderson?
So I didn't tell you? Miss Anderson had a really bad stroke.
Oh, no. A stroke? Is she okay?
Well, she's alive, but she's been on life support for like 2 months. And Mr. Anderson, well, the bills keep piling up, so he put it up for sale.
Wow. You think she's gonna make it?
I mean, the doctors think so, but they doubt that she'll ever walk or talk again.
Jeez. I can't imagine having to live like that. Can you, Dad?
I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to think about it. Let's just put the groceries up and let's talk about something else.
Nobody likes to think about being sick, but serious illness happens to us all sooner or later. Life is unpredictable, and illness and injury often come without warning. But what is for certain is that we will all face a time when we can't speak for ourselves. Unfortunately, most patients who are very ill or injured will lose the ability to communicate their opinions. However, important choices still need to be made when we, as healthcare providers, are caring for our sickest patients. These decisions have serious consequences and can be hard to predict.
Your brother can't swallow. Do you think he would want a feeding tube?
Would your mother want CPR if her heart stopped? Do you think your husband would want to be on a ventilator?
When these decisions need to be made about your care, who will speak for you? And what will they say? Do they know what you'd want done and what you wouldn't want? Do they know what's important to you? And do you know? When that time comes, a surrogate or proxy will need to speak for you. Now is when you have the power to decide who you want that person to be. This person, your person, is what we call a medical POA or healthcare power of attorney. You can quickly select your healthcare POA today, and it's easy to do. Who will speak for you? And do they know what matters to you?
A medical or healthcare power of attorney, or POA, is like your emergency contact person, but so much more. A healthcare POA, also called a medical proxy or surrogate decision maker, is the person you believe knows you so well they could make critical decisions for you if you are unable to make them for yourself. You might not be able to communicate your wishes when important medical decisions need to be made if you are in an accident, become very ill, or undergo surgery. A POA is the person you trust will honor your values and preferences for medical care. Adults have the right to express their choice of POA using a simple legal document. For people who did not choose a POA, an alternate decision maker will be used by your healthcare team based on your state's laws to make medical decisions on your behalf if you cannot make them for yourself.
Patients without healthcare POAs can get their needs overlooked, making it difficult for a medical team to know what's right when we have to make critical decisions. Most people never expect to be in a situation where they are unconscious or confused, but it happens all the time. When patients can't talk, it's hard as a doctor to know the right thing to do because the patient can't tell me their wishes.
Hey, son, you got a minute?
Sure, Mom. What's up?
Well, I know you don't like to think about this anymore, but when I had that heart attack last year and was in the hospital, I've had a lot of thinking to do since then, and I want to talk to you about something that's very important to me.
That was a scary time, Mom. We thought we were gonna lose you. Yeah, I still hate to even think about it. But why are you bringing this up now? You're a survivor.
Well, I know, but I haven't talked to you and your father about this before, but when I was in the hospital on that ventilator, it was very hard on my body. I know I'm okay now, but things could have been very different, you know. And I thank God every day that I'm still here because I could not have pulled through.
Dad and I are grateful too. You gave us a real scare.
I'm glad I'm okay now, but I might not be as fortunate next time. So what I'm trying to say is I don't want to be on life support if this happens again.
Okay, But why are we talking about this now?
Now is the time to have this conversation when we are not under stress or time pressure. I want to make you my medical power of attorney. And since you know what I want, then you can tell the doctor and let them know if this should happen again. Because I believe that if God wants me on this earth, He'll protect me. And if I need life support, it's time. So please, let me go.
I respect your decision, Mom. I love you.
And I love you too, son.
When decisions need to be made quickly, having a POA is critical, especially when there are multiple family members with different opinions or who don't physically live in the same place or communicate often. Choosing a healthcare POA is an act of love. It takes the burden off your family to try to guess your wishes if you were to become seriously ill.
Choosing a medical power of attorney may be easy, but it's often not discussed until it's too late. A POA is your person. Selecting your person is simple and can be done for free at home, and you don't need a lawyer. Simply search for your state's healthcare POA form online or ask your care team for help. Then fill out the form and share it with your person and medical providers. This person will be asked to make medical decisions on your behalf if you cannot make them for yourself. Your medical POA does not have to be a family member. Whoever you trust and knows you well is a great choice. Over half of patients hospitalized with serious illness will need a proxy to speak for them when decisions are being made about life support. So choose your POA today and make sure someone you trust is speaking for you when it matters most.
Your healthcare power of attorney, or POA, is your person.
Someone you know who has only your best interest in their heart.
Someone who will speak for you when you can't speak for yourself.
Hey Doc, how's my dad doing? You think he's gonna make it?
Well, I don't have great news. Your father's very sick, and I don't think he's gonna be able to take care of himself again.
I see. You know, I thought the news would be something hard to hear like that.
We have some really important decisions to make about his care. Had he ever talked to you about what he would want if he was sick like this?
Yeah, you know, it was a difficult conversation. He made it very clear what he would want.
Designate your healthcare POA today and let your voice be heard.
That's the end. So I know we're short on time. If we have any questions, I want to thank Dr. Russell for leading this project and getting it done in such a difficult time last year. I don't think we can say enough about how much work he put behind this. So thank you, Dr. Russell, for presenting this project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drs. Levine and Russell. I actually find that a very powerful and moving movie. I think it'll be very impactful for many of our patients. We do have a couple of questions and a little bit of time to do that. The first question is from Phil Hoffman. Is Illinois unusual in having the surrogacy law that lists who may make decisions if there's not a designated POA? For example, spouse, adult children, etc.
So actually each state has their own surrogacy law, but that's a really great question because since we're bordering Indiana, there is a slight difference between Illinois and Indiana. So we always encourage people when they're caring for patients in a certain state to look up the surrogacy law because it is very different from one to the next.
Now, another question, are there any type of checklist that you can use with a patient or a POA, things that the patient should discuss with the POA or questions a POA should ask the patient ahead of time so that they know different contingencies that may happen in an emergency?
Take that, Josh.
You're still on mute, Josh.
Sure. I mean, that's a fantastic question. overarching theme is really not to talk about specific therapies, but to focus on what the person values. So if it's somebody who can't imagine not playing golf, for example, then that's important to communicate, because then we can make decisions and guide the family about which therapies would preclude them from having a life worth living. When you get into the nitty-gritties, especially if you're non-medical, family members, it becomes a quagmire. So really focusing on what the person values. There are checklists. North Shore University, where I currently work, has a really good open source ACP checklist, and the University of Chicago one is also available. I was actually remiss in not having the URL available, but I'll add it to the chat as soon as I find it for the video, so that you can share that with all your patients. And please, actually, colleagues outside of the institution, and our hope, Rush is using it now, and North Shore is going to be hopefully using it in the near future. And the idea is that we wanted to create a high quality video so it doesn't have to be redone on an institution by institution basis.
Yeah, so the video is available on their ACP website. All you have to do is Google ACP University of Chicago and scroll down, and you'll see at the bottom of the page.
Well, that's great. And there's a lot of comments in the chat about how fantastic the video is. So congratulations on a great video. It's, I think, very moving, very helpful. And I think getting it available for patients will be extremely helpful for them as well.